Hello, James again with a follow-up video called Crap 2. Now here's another piece, right? My mother, very nice gooseberry and apple crumble, but we've run out of apples, so I went over to the local shop and with the intention of buying cooking apples. No cooking apples, so I had to buy some. But look at this. The card tray's fine. That can go in the recycle bin. But what about this? Plastic, it cannot be recycled, so that's going to end up in a landfill unless I can find some use for it as a bag. And then product of chili. So I ask myself, when were these apples picked? How long ago? You know, this is the UK. Surely we can grow apples in this country. I mean, let's face it, these apples are going to be produced not for flavour, certainly not for the benefit of the people who are growing them in South America. It's purely profit driven. And what are they spraying them with? Because I mean, let's face it, these are going to be this is going to be grown for profit and for long shelf life, because it's all about money at the end of the day. So this is why I've said before, and it's very important, start growing your own fruit, start growing your own vegetables. Let's start taking this power away from these corporations. This is how we can fight back. There's 7.5 billion of us around the world, you know. If we were actually to stand together as one, we can make a hell of a difference, even a portion of us. We can start saying, no, to hell with your stupid regulations and your stupid laws. We're fed up of this. Now I'm talking not just about people of today. I'm talking about, let's put this bluntly, the privileged white society of Europe. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Irish and the potato famine. How privileged were they? Let's talk about the United States, the European people who, once there was freedom of slaves, what do you think happened to them? A lot of them starved to death. A lot of my ancestors starved to death or died in workhouses. I've got ancestors who were in the First World War. A man died every 2 foot. Every 2 foot of advance, another man was being killed before he was even in his prime. Probably half of them never had families or they left widows. So this is as much about them. Yes, I have anger and I have a grievance, but I'm channeling that anger into something positive, because people power is something we have got. The control system knows this. They don't want us to wake up. They want us to be obedient workers, as George Carlin said, just smart enough to operate the machines but not smart enough to ask the questions. Well, tough shit, because some of us are waking up. We know what's going on. I mean, some of you are not going to like this next bit, but this is the truth. We are caught up in a family feud, right? A feud between beings that came here, I don't know, thousands and thousands of years ago and created a workforce which rebelled, so they created something else called humans. It's encoded in this English language. The leader of these Anunnaki is called Anu. It's encoded in things like annual, lunar, a nuclear war. I mean, look at a young child. They might do a picture. If they're not happy with it, they screw it up and start again. A nuclear, yeah? A lot of you probably know this, but there's a lot of you that don't. But do we have to be stuck in this feud? Another little point I want to make here. Think about writers, artists. They put heart and soul into what they do. So therefore, by logic, does it not seem plausible that whatever created humanity put a bit of itself into us? Because we have definitely all got creativity. Now, I get a lot of personal messages of the strength of these videos from people saying they've got no special gifts, they're not psychic or whatever. But let me just answer that and clarify that for you. Look at, take a cross section of 100 people. Do you think you're all good at welding or whatever it happens to be, or bookkeeping. I have personal experience of working for a financial director years ago who had a turnover with a company of 7 million, but he couldn't fold a map. Probably couldn't boil an egg, which, if you take away this society when it collapses, and it is starting to collapse, I'm sure some of you can see it. This is unsustainable. I'll give you a case in point. Cannabis. I started smoking cannabis when I was 16 years old. It's not gone up in price in all that time. So that's what we're talking about, 30, 40 years. And it's not gone up because it's not legal, so the government can't get its greedy hands on it and add tax onto it, which, if it's legalised, that I can assure you that's what it'll do. The prices start going up and they'll probably start interfering with it. I mean, we've already seen cases on Facebook of people dying from this artificial cannabis. It's ridiculous. It's well known that it can cure a lot of these illnesses, but it doesn't make money. And think about this as well. You have a mortgage. You don't just pay for the house you're in, you're paying exorbitant amounts of interest, and you're buying that house 3 or 4 times over. We were told in the early 70s that we would have leisure time, but look at the reality of it. Take, for example, people in Liverpool. There's probably 3 or 4 generations of people who've never had a job in their lives, not for a fault of their own, because there is no work there for them to do. And what about homeless people? Do homeless people, did they wake up one day and say, I'm going to sleep on the park bench or Windsor, or were they forced into that situation through no fault of their own? Or, let's put it another way, they've paid the price, they fought for Queen and country, and look at the way they're now being treated. You've got this bloody family of parasites with all these palaces who have so much wealth that they could solve this, and what do? Oh, they're not politically involved. Well, I can assure you they are. Why do you think it's got Her Majesty's armed forces? Who do they pledge allegiance to? Think about that. Think about prime ministers of the United Kingdom, of Australia and of Canada and New Zealand. First minister, answerable to who? Why does the Prime Minister of the UK have these once a week phone calls or meetings with the Queen, which is not recorded, not disclosed to the public? What do they talk about? People think the royal family reign and they don't rule anymore. Well, that's far from the truth as far as I can see. Just to use a bit of logic on this. And it's just all this stupid control system we've got in place. Religions is another one. Yeah, I'm having a rant tonight because I'm fed up with all this rubbish and that people are being subjected to. Let me put this into context. There are about 6 people in the United States who have the amount of wealth that the entire southern hemisphere of the world has. Now, do you think that's fair? Because I don't. It's about time we all stood together as one. Now, another very interesting point I want to make. You look at these isolated tribes all around the world that don't have contact with the outside world. Are they trying to colonise and take over the rest of the world, or are they working in harmony with nature? They don't have a centralisation of power and being governed and controlled from some central location miles away from where they live. They work quite happily and they know what's important in life. It's about time we started doing that, start talking to each other. A friend of mine, I'm going to give you a mention now, Mark Ojar. I mean, he knows about computers, he knows about the way it works with computer games. Why do you think there was PlayStation 1, then PlayStation 2 and then PlayStation 3 when they could have just brought out PlayStation 3 and the things weren't compatible? So you have to spend more money on a load of crap. I fell for it. Did Sonic the Hedgehog years ago. I went through all 16 levels, spent hours on it just to be told congratulations on the screen. So I lost interest after that because I thought, what a big anticlimax. and it's keeping me distracted from what's really going on, but not anymore. I don't fall for all this rubbish anymore. So I'm getting this message out because my back's pushed to the wall. Like I said in the last video, I've got no income. But I tell you one thing, here's the paradox of it. I've got no stress in my life. I feel free, I feel alive, I feel wonderful. How about that? It's brilliant. I've got a beautiful garden out there. I've got paradise out there. I could spend all day out there. I hung the washing out, the laundry out on the line the other day, and it occurred to me as I was doing it, I haven't worn a pair of socks for about 2 weeks. I'm hardening my soles because I even go over the local shops. I don't even bother putting shoes on anymore. Because, I do look where I'm going. I make sure there's no cut glass or anything. But it's freeing. It's a wonderful experience. I would recommend it to all of you. You know? Start thinking as like I said before, start thinking out the box, because people power is the way forward. We can take some positive steps here. It's not going to work through guns. I'm not advocating violence. I'm saying we stand together, or we stick together as one. This is not about putting anybody on a pedestal or as a leader. Think of it as I am Spartacus. We're all Spartacus, yeah? Because what they can't take out a leader if there's no leader. But we can start saying, no, we have had enough. We want control of our lives. We are fed up supporting these parasites who are making millions upon millions. Well, I've got a message for you lot as well. Just think about the Dracula films. Those that are loyal to the vampire. Yeah? When they're expendable, do you think they're saved, or do they come to a sticky end? Well, there's these Anunnaki. You think that you Rothschilds and Rockefellers, Windsors, Saxe-Coburg, Goethers and the rest of you, the Bushes, the Clintons, you really think you're going to be saved? I'm going to be, well, I can't laugh my socks off if I'm not wearing my socks off, but I'm going to be laughing at you. Because you ain't going to be saved. When your time is over, when your usefulness is over, what do you think they're going to do with you? Do you think they care about humanity? Because they certainly don't. There is one up there that does, who has been demonised. But then we come into this nonsense with religion. I mean, every religion is saying they believe in the one true God. But like everything else in this life, it's been inverted. We've been living under a deception for centuries upon centuries, and it has cost lives of millions and millions of our ancestors and our brethren, and it's still going on today in the Middle East. Because these weapons make money and keep these parasites in the luxury that they're living in. Well, this system is unsustainable anymore. It can't be sustained any longer. Toilet paper, the slaughter of trees for toilet paper. How long is that going to go on for when you can make toilet paper out of renewable resources like rice and hemp? But they don't want that because it doesn't make money. It's the same with all this medical care, all these cures and vaccines. You're overloading your body with metals and things. You've got 100 transition metals whizzing around your body. The blood is pumping it round. It works. Your brain doesn't even have to think about it. It just happens automatically. What they're doing is overloading you. This is why people are worn out, working all these hours. This is why people are dying at 80 and 120 years. Even science says they don't know why people age. It's because they're worn out. Because they are working us to death and taxing us to death. They're keeping you in debt. There's the bars of the prison, as David Icke and many others have said before. I'm not saying anything new here. I'm just putting it into a different context. But like I said before, listen to Todd Church. He'll give you a lovely example. He's spreading the word of love. He's been attacked for it, for God's sake, you know, for spreading a message of love. That is ridiculous. It's about time people started really seeing what's going on instead of sitting around having barbecues and drinking beer and thinking about when they're going to work on Monday morning. And what are you working for? You're being controlled. Enough is enough. We need to stand together and make a positive difference. I've got a secret weapon, and you've all got it as well. You don't need any gifts. It's this. It's from the heart, caring about what is really important, caring about giving us freedom, empowering us to take control of our own destinies. This is what we should be doing, keeping roofs over our head, not letting our elderly die of the cold or in poverty, letting people die on park benches, being stabbed, mugged and murdered for a few pounds for a drug addiction, and nothing's being done about it because they don't care. These authorities, they don't give a shit about any one of us. Well, I do, and I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot more of you that care about the rest of humanity as well, because I went to school, I was told the right way things are, and then I got out into the wide world and I thought, there's something wrong here. What the hell is wrong with this world? All the things I've been told is right, it's not happening. I've known of a 78-year-old man who'd fell over. Not one person stopped to see if he was all right. I mean, what has the world come to where we don't care about each other? We're in these bubbles. So many people are walking along the road with a cup of coffee and looking at their mobile phone, and they're in this bubble. You say good morning to someone, well, you might as well insult them. They think you're totally mad. We've lost all sense of compassion. Well, a lot of people have. They seem oblivious to what's really going on because we've all been deceived. But it's now starting to come out. There's more and more people starting to see that this system cannot continue like this. And it isn't going to continue like this. So please, let's all start taking some positive steps. Let's start saying, no, we're not doing this anymore. Let's find ways, let's start doing community growing. Yeah? Once I've got this garden established, I'm going to start giving some of this food away. I don't want any money for it, because I don't. If it's choice of me hoarding it or somebody else starving, I'd rather give it away. You know, I will feel real wealth from that, not this financial rubbish. Because I don't need any of this nonsense. I don't need all your fashion clothing. I don't need all this nonsense. As long as I've got something to keep me warm in the winter, you know, and put food on the table, that's that's really all I worry about. Well, not worry about, that's all that matters. I've got real beauty out there in nature. It's not covered in lipstick and foundation. You know? My advice to all of you is really get to know yourself. Yeah? Know yourself more than you've ever known before. Now, if you get visions or flashes and thinking you're the second coming, the new Jesus, well, fine, but keep it to yourself, because you start preaching messages of I'm holier than thou, you're going to get people's backs up. A lot of people are going to turn around and say, yeah, right, don't believe that for 1 minute. People are cynical. But do it from being benevolent. Lead by example. We all have natural roles. I mean, do you think that people with Down syndrome are stupid, or, you know? Show me a Down syndrome person that has hatred within them. They're the most beautiful people in the world, as far as I can see. It's the rest of us that are crazy. You know? There's a few things to think about. Anyway, calm and love and light you, because this system is not acceptable anymore. Everybody has a breaking point. And with this awakening, look how most of you are being awakened. It's dramatic. It's a sudden jolt. You're having things happen in your life. It might be a head-on collision, a car crash, but you survived it. But your life changes. Mine did with my chest. I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought this was it. I thought I'm too young to die. I don't want to die yet. But it's changed me. It's woke me up to what's really important in this world. And that is the future of humanity. And that is the message I am trying to push out, along with many other people. So please, join together. Forget your differences. If you could see yourselves You're more than just flesh and blood beings. See yourself like flames on a candle. Now where are all the differences? Where's your skin colour differences? Where's your nationality differences? Where's your sexual differences? They all vanish. It doesn't matter, does it? Because you're all the same underneath. In the exterior, yes, we might look all different. I've got a European Caucasian image as in a male body. But as an energy form, I'm just a flame, the same as the rest of you. So that's what I'm speaking on behalf of, past, present and future. The energy flames that we all really are. We have a chance to take control of our destiny, or we become enslaved even further, or even become extinct. You choose what you want to do. You are given free will. You can either be self-serving and try and feather your own nest at the expense of everybody else. That clearly is not the way forward. It's failing all around us. Or you can be benevolent and you can help each other. There's your two choices. Now it's up to you.